Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 of my favorite or most used GoodNotes tips. So if that is of interest to you, then please keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to be working off of my iPad mini 6, which is the device that I've been using for the past few months, pretty much exclusively for planning. And we're going to go into GoodNotes and we're just going to kind of work off of my monthly spread. So I absolutely love the hold to snap highlighter in place feature. That's what I'm calling it. So you have to come to highlighter here and you have to toggle on draw in straight line. Then when you go to highlight something, let's say we are going to highlight, let's say we're going to highlight this upload. If you draw your highlight and you hold it and for a second or two and then you release it, it will snap perfectly in place and it'll be a perfectly straight line. So if we wanted to do like a larger one or a longer one, we would do this. We will hold it and then it'll snap into place and it'll be a perfectly straight line. If I did not have that feature on, just for references, and I drew a highlighter, it would just be my regular old crusty, dusty, non-straight highlighter, and we don't want that. So that is how you use that feature. It is absolutely my favorite. Let's talk about my next favorite feature. So my next favorite feature is the shape tool, and with the shape tool you can do all sorts of fun things. So this is how I like to do my shape tool selection. So I like to toggle on everything, require, hold to snap, snap to other shapes, fill color, all the things. You can take off the fill color as it relates to the tip that I'm about to share, but I like having it on. So we're going to leave that on. And so now we can draw a shape, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it is going to perfectly snap it into shape, into a perfect shape. And then that whole fill color thing, if you hit the backspace, oops, I hit it too far. If you hit the backspace, it will get rid of the outline. And of course, if you just turn that off, then you won't have that problem because it won't do that. So let's just do that so I can show you for purposes of this video, and you won't have the fill in shape. See how this is filled in with like a gray? We don't have that anymore. And I like using it for circles and squares and rectangles. I even try to do it with hearts and stars and stuff, but I really like using it for check boxes as well. Nope, that's that tool. That's the pencil tool or the pen tool. This is the shape tool, and it'll give us a perfect check mark. So I love using that feature. My next favorite feature is a newer one. So back in the day, aka not long ago, if I wanted to select anything, I would have to use the lasso tool, which is this here. And here you can toggle on handwriting, images, text boxes, and comments. And what this means is if we have all of these toggled on, when we try to lasso something or select it, it's going to select pretty much everything, because everything on my page is either a handwriting, an image, a text box, a comment, or something of the sort. So I just leave that on. That's not my favorite feature. My favorite feature is that I no longer have to select different items using the lasso tool. Now I can just touch them and move them around or edit them or do whatever it is that I want to do. I can just literally just touch them. That was not the case back in the day. I can also see I did too much with that because I moved it around. So I'm just going to put it back to where it came from. But essentially I can just select and then move things to where I want to move them. My favorite part is, like I said, just being able to select pretty much everything on the screen real easily. I can either use my finger or I can use the pencil. And so I really love that feature because that's a newer feature, and it makes, dealing with this and fooling around with this and planning so much easier. My next favorite feature is the elements tool. So we talked about this a little bit not long ago, and I'm going to go to my elements up here. So this is elements, and in elements, you can do a bunch of different things. So let's say you want to make a perfect check mark. We'll do that here. So I'm going to make a perfect check mark. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lasso this check mark. I'm going to select it or tap on it, and then I'm going to add it as an element. And I already had one here already made, but I'm going to add it to my handmade collection, because you can create different collections and try to get your stuff organized that way, your elements organized that way. So I'm going to add it to handmade. So what this means now is if I want to go to elements and use that checkbox that I just made, I can do so by selecting here. That's just kind of like a little preview or my most used. But if I wanted to go to handmade, to my handmade collection, this actually is a newer tip that I use. We're not going to talk about that today because that might be confusing. We're going to go here. We're going to go to my handmade collection, and then we're going to select that, and there it is right there. So I really love the elements. I have a lot of things in my elements, but essentially, if you don't want to type all this over again each month after month, or if you don't want to write things over month after month, or whatever the case is, you can just save things to your elements. You can literally add whatever you want to your elements. So this is a good thing for handmade stickers. This is a good thing for just regular stickers that you didn't hand make, like maybe ones that you bought or downloaded elsewhere. Anything that you want to add from your page and save for a later date and be able to access it at a later date, you can do that. I can even, this is a part of the actual planner. I can't tap on this because it's a part of the actual planner. But if I wanted to be able to have this August mini calendar, we're going to select this. We are going to take a screenshot. We are going to then save the image. Then we're going to bring it in back to our planner from our images. And then at this point, we can add it as an element. And I can add it, let's say I'm going to add it to my dates element. So now I can come back to my elements, go to my dates, which they are going to be here, and then select that. And now we have my August calendar. And if I want to edit it from here, I can, or, you know, whatever it is that I want to do, if I want to resize it or whatever, I can do that straight from here. So I absolutely love having this elements feature. I use it a pretty good amount just so I don't have to write things over and over and such. But yeah, that's all I got to do. So if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to take this, let's cut it, and I wanted to paste it here, then I could do that. And now I have a little calendar up there, which actually isn't that, it's kind of cute, but we're going to get rid of it. But that's how you use the elements feature. My next favorite feature is the custom color. So if you go to your pen, or your pencil technically is what it's called, and you go to the colors over here, you have some presets, and these are the presets. But then you have history, which these are some of my colors that I've used before, and then we have custom. So of course I can add a hex code and get a color maybe that I got from someplace else, you know, because you can look for hex codes everywhere on the internet. People provide free hex codes, whatever, and I can add those in here to get a custom color. But I could also come to this wheel here, and then I can just spin it around to wherever, you know, wherever my heart desires, and I can come up with a custom color, and that makes my heart happy. It makes my heart happy to have unlimited pen colors. So that's hands down one of my favorite features. The next tool is something that we're going to do here together. So we are going to go to, we're going to go here. We're going to go to my monthly gratitude. And what we're going to do is we're going to select a white area and we're going to take a screenshot. Okay. Now we have just a white image essentially, and we are going to copy that image. You could also save it and then it'll save to your photos. You can save it as an image and it'll be in your images, but I don't want to do that. I'm just going to copy it, which is another little shortcut, and then I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to cover up this whole page with this. Actually, I'm going to leave a little bit. I'm going to leave that much here, so therefore that's still clickable because we want that to still be clickable. So I have a blank canvas. Of course, all I would need to do if I really wanted my monthly gratitude page to stay is duplicate the page so that I could keep that page and then make the duplicate page a blank canvas as I'm doing. But for purposes of this video, we're just going to use the monthly gratitude page. And so what I really love about GoodNotes is that you can build out your own planner spread. I do it all the time. And so what I like to do whenever I'm building out my own planner spreads, I normally like, it depends on which spread I'm trying to build out. But let's say I'm trying to build out a daily page. Well, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put, let's just call it daily planning. Okay. And what I'm going to do from here is I am going to select this and I'm going to make it bigger, which is actually one of my tips that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So I'm going to make it bigger, and now I have daily planning. I don't love that font, but you know, we're going to go with it for here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shape tool to draw a box. Now this is horrible, so hopefully it snaps into place. Okay, it does snap into place. And what we are going to do, I don't think we like it enough to keep it. Now we're going to go out and we're going to do another one. I don't know why I can't get this right. There we go. All right, so now we have a little outline, which is cute. And now we can kind of take it from here to build out our daily planning page. Like, what is it that we really want out of this daily planning page? Let's say we just want a place to be able to write down some checks of some sort. To a to-do list. Let's call it a to-do list. This is going to be our to-do list. So now all we have to do is make some circles. Okay, so now we have some circles, and we can just make circles all down the page if we wanted to. And then what I would probably do is maybe draw a line here. Let's just say that we drew circles and lines over and over again to fill up the whole page. Well, then we can come in here and we can kind of make our to-do list. Let's say wash clothes. So also, I'm using a gray pen, which is funny. Let's come up here and select black because that just sits better with my spirit. And then we can just make our own page. So you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You can make perfect circles for your to-do list. You can make perfect lines with the shape tool if you want to separate the page. And maybe that's for to-dos and this is for your, I don't know, let's say this is what you're going to be doing that's the shape tool. Let's say this is what you're going to be doing at 6 o'clock. And you can put what you're going to be doing. You get the point. You can build out your whole entire planning page just by using the GoodNotes app and the features that it provides. My next favorite feature is one that I kind of just touched on. So if you come up here to the text box and you type in, let's say we're going to call this planning. Well, from here, you could select this and make it bigger. Okay. You can increase the size of your text by coming here. But as you can see, just by judging from the line that is right below the P, stretching your text really distorts it. And now look how jacked up it is. It kind of just goes up. I don't know what's up with that. GoodNotes should probably fix it, but it really distorts your text. Even though once you tap it, it will kind of not be blurry. It'll clear up, but it's still crooked because look at this line and then look how it's ascending. Is that the word? Yeah, that's the word. Look how it is ascending. We don't want that. So if you want to get your text bigger, my tip for you is to just select the text and then change the size to whatever you want it to be. Therefore, it does not distort your text. So now if we zoom in, you'll see that everything is perfectly lined up with that line there. So that's just a little tip for you. You don't want to be, that's actually a universal tip. Even if you did the same thing with, let's say we brought in, let's bring in something else. Let's go to elements and we're going to bring in something like, we're going to bring in this appointment. All right. So this is perfectly straight, right? Okay. But if we make it bigger, sometimes just like that, now it's ascending off the line. It starts perfectly on the line and now it's ascending. I have no real idea what the remedy is for this particular thing, but for the text box, that's all you got to do is just increase your font size rather than trying to select the text box and resize it. Another thing that I have been liking is the ability to duplicate photos and text boxes and things of the sort. So if you tap on the text box here, and then if you hold and drag, and you got to wait for that little green thing to pop up and you drop it, then you get a duplicate. And so you can also do that with text boxes. So let's go back to, you can do it with anything. If we come to family reunion and we tap and we hold and drag, then it'll do the same thing. Okay, another tool that I have been loving using is this magnifying tool. It's kind of like a precision tool. So let's say we want it to write here. I could easily zoom in. It's not really that big of an issue. But if I don't want to do all that because I want to see my whole page without having to do that, I can come to the precision tool and then I can drag it to where I want it to go, which we want it to go here. And then we can also make it a little bit smaller because that's doing a whole lot. And then I can right here. So it's essentially the same thing as zooming in, but in doing so, I can see more of my screen. Like if I were trying to reference something on the left side of the screen or something that would be out of frame. If I were to just zoom in like such, then I can just use that little tool. So that's if you're wondering why that would be relevant for any reason, that's the reason why that would be relevant. So instead of zooming in like such and not being able to see anything over to the left, I could stay zoomed out and tap my precision or magnifying tool, make it even smaller, and then I can come here and write whatever it is that I want to write. And then my final favorite feature is actually the scribble feature, which I have to come in here and go down to Apple Pencil here. So you come to Apple Pencil and you can toggle a bunch of different things on and off and mess with a bunch of different things here. But what we want to do is toggle on our scribble feature, and you can try it here, but we don't need to do that because I'm about to try it for you. So what that means is if I want to go to text and I want to enter in a text, I can either type it out here like such, or I could scribble it and it will turn it into a text for me. So this is really a means of getting that paper to pencil writing type of vibe without having to deal with your own handwriting, which some people don't like. I don't mind it so much. I use my handwriting a good bit, but sometimes when I do want to just write a quick text, I will use this feature because it's much easier to do this, to write it out, I think, than to come in here and type it out, because this can sometimes be a little annoying. The keyboard's in the way sometimes, so it's real easy to just write it right above it. Pool party. And it's pretty good. So I feel like it, even though my handwriting might be a little sloppy, it's pretty good and it can dictate or figure out what it is that I am trying to write. So I love that for me, but let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay guys, so that is going to be it for this video. Those are the 10 GoodNotes planning tips and tricks that I use the most, and I wanted to share those with you guys. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. There you go. Subscribe if you're new and if you're liking what you're seeing. If you want to see more GoodNotes tips from me, digital planning tips, definitely know that they are on the way, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.